Hey, and we're live. Howdy, folks. Again, sorry for the no intro. I'm still broke, so nothing fancy. But here we are, episode 247. What are little Brettonians made of? I'm going to be painting up some Brettonian men at arms for our game this weekend, and I think we got some weird feedback with you, Reese. Are you there? Okay, I think he muted himself.
I did mute myself. I can mute it again.
Okay, well, no worries. Whenever you want to say something, just unmute yourself and go. Telemachus is in the house. He says, "What is a knight's favorite music? Heavy metal. Heavy metal." We got Chris Long in the house. Hey, how you doing, Chris? Glad you could join us. Like I said, we got Reese with us tonight, and we may or may not have a McMurray sighting. I don't know. Um, Real quickly, I don't think we got anything going on over at Wiley Games discount wise right now, but I do think my not J discount is still valid. So that's 20% off any non bundled product as many times as you want. Uh, NOTJAY, all caps, 20% off whenever. So there you go. We've got Charles in the house. How you doing, Charles? And Mr. Meandering Mike. Hail, hail! The gang's all here. I hope everybody's doing well. So, like I said, tonight I am painting Brettonians. I've been talking with Reese prior to starting to kind of get an idea of what I'm wanting to do, and I thought to myself, as one does, I said, do you think that the men at arms should be uniform? I think they should be uniform because they're, they look like they're, set up to be a uniform unit. Um, Also, it makes it really easy to paint. And we know my feelings about painting. So that's what's going to happen. And then I started thinking, well, what color scheme do I want to go with? I was thinking I didn't want to do red and green because that's Christmassy, and I don't like Christmassy. Mike is having teriyaki chicken with ginger lime broccoli rice. Yeah, all I got is leftover Mexican food that my buddy Doug bought for lunch today. We met up for lunch, and he was gracious enough to pay my way because, well, I'm broke. And I got leftovers, so score. That's what I'm going to have after we're done here. Um, but so yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, if I can find it. I'm going to go red and blue on them. I was thinking blue and yellow to match the my Texas A&I motif. The problem with that is I don't really have a good yellow, so to speak. At least I don't think I do. Let me take a look at something here. Well, I don't know. That yellow isn't too bad on that flag there. I guess I could go blue and yellow. Um, so I was I was thinking of just doing red and blue, like this rear Knigget. Um, I've got red and orange. Do I have a red and yellow? I don't think I have a red and yellow. Um, Chris Long says red and yellow. I don't know. I'm not a fan of those two colors together for some reason. I like red and blue. or blue and yellow. Um, so I'm gonna throw it out. I know Chris Long already said red and yellow, but the rest of y'all, what are your thoughts? What color combo should I go with? Red and blue, or yellow and blue? Um, Throw it into the text thing over here and let me know what you think. What do you think, Reese? Of those two choices, where do you think I should go?
I'm painting red and blue stuff right now, so go red and blue.
Oh, there you go. What are you painting?
I'm painting some Kansas regular cavalry for the Civil War, and I'm also painting some Philippine scouts for the Philippine insurrection of 1902 to 1913.
Very well, very well. That's not too shabby. So the reason I'm painting these Brettonians is because I was getting them painted up for last weekend, but it turns out we didn't play the uh, play Dragon Rampant over at Joel's house. We ended up going to the World War One museum and playing What a Tinker all day uh, with some folks at Smoked Lard. We had an all-day gaming event where people from all over the Kansas City area, uh, as well as people actually flew in for this event from Tampa, Florida, and Colorado. Telemachus says yellow and blue makes green, so green it is. Again, not how that works, but okay. Um, we had about 20 people there, and Joel Copeland and I put on a game of What a Tanker using Joel's son's village of Normandy, the village of Normandy. That's a running joke about us. We know that Normandy is not a village. Just roll with it. Copeland's tanks, and then I created the dashboards for all the tanks, and we just set it up to where whoever wanted to play, whenever they wanted to play, we just had the table set up all day, and people could rotate in and out however they see fit. Well, the Joe, the guy who basically brought everything together and hoofed the bill himself, and didn't ask for any money to partake in this. Uh, Shout out to Joe. I'm working on getting him onto the show with us because we're going to do a Lardy game or a Lardy episode. Um, but he is going to. Oh, there's Mr. McMurray. How do you do, sir?
Hey, how's it going? Everybody
Going
having a
well.
good time?
Yeah, I'm talking about smoked lard.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Um, Talking about how Joe, who set it all up, Joe Hodgins, whatever. He set it up at the World War One Memorial Museum,
Yep.
footed the bill himself, and didn't ask anybody for any money.
What a guy. Damn.
Yeah, right.
That's the way to do it.
And 20, like I said, we had about 20 folks show up. And we had, like I said, we're telling the rest of the guys, I'm just catching you up. We had a guy fly in from Tampa.
Not surprising, yeah.
We had a guy fly in from probably Denver because he came in from Colorado. We had folks come over from St. Louis, as you know,
Yep.
and then people from all over the Kansas City area. We had, besides What a Tanker, and I'll get back to why What a Tanker was so cool. But we had two games of well, one game of Mud in the Blood, which was I thought rather appropriate, being the World
Yeah,
War
I
One
think
museum.
my buddy Tom Hoff went over there and played in that.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
posted
I'm pretty
pictures of
sure.
it. I was very, very jealous.
Yeah, it was a great looking table. I'll bring some photos up here in just a second to show off to everybody. But and then we had two sharp practice games. One, your classical Napoleonic um, peninsular campaign, and one AWI. Again,
That's
both
badass.
beautiful tables. And then we had our, what a tinker table using Ian's The Village of Normandy and Copeland's 15 millimeter tanks. And what was so cool about our game, besides letting people come in and play whenever they wanted to and do whatever they wanted to do with it, is Joe brought his son, who is turning 9 on Sunday. So this is the day before he turns 9, and his daughter, who is 12. One of his daughters, he's got twin daughters. The other one didn't want to go and deal with dad and his silly toys.
What happened?
But they were there, sat at the table all morning, engaged very well with us. Uh, Copeland, Joel, and I played on the Americans or the Allied side because we had both American and British tanks.
Nice.
And the kids, along with Ian, who is Joel's kid, even though he's in his 30s, um, played on the other side. And his to make things flow a little better, we took out the need to roll to hit. So if they got the acquire, they got the aim, and they were able to get that 4 to pull the trigger, we just had them grab the strike dice and roll.
Nice.
Because I mean they're kids, right? It's I'm out there being a target anyway. Why make it difficult for them?
Love the game,
Let's
baby.
let them have some fun, right?
Love the game.
Well, she had so much fun that first turn, I move my tank out. She lines up, pops me with one go, one shot, boom, I'm dead. All right, I'll go get another tank. Turn two, I move my tank out. She lines me up, boom, dead. She was ruthless. She ended up with 4 kills that morning. 3 of them were mine. Her brother, the 9-year-old, had 2 kills.
Outstanding.
At lunch, she was ready to go home, and so he lives close by, so he just ran her home. And when he got back, um, and we got back from lunch, we by the way, if you are hungry when you're at the war memorial, go to the cafe and get the Reuben. Excellent Reuben. And it wasn't that expensive. It was like $12.50 with the Coke and chips. So
It's a good day.
quite tasty. Anyway, that being said, um, we before I go on, in the morning we had a guy come by named Charlie, and he had his 4-year-old daughter with him, Mia, and she wanted to play.
Fair? Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bring her on up. And she was just having fun rolling the dice, and she didn't care,
Yeah.
one way or the other. But she was having fun because she was engaged and she was with the other kids, and
Yeah.
and to me that's making memories for the kids to say, hey, we had a fun time playing these games.
Mhm.
Let's do it again sometime. And
Yep.
that's how you get new young blood into an old man's hobby.
Yep.
You
shouldn't call Reese old. He's a nice man.
I know. I
I act like I'm the oldest one here.
Fair, he does. Well, that's what happens when you impregnate turkeys. Now, granted, that's not what you do anymore, but I'm just saying. But we came back after lunch, and Joel said, okay, why don't we take one of the tigers, we put it out in the middle of the field, which was pretty much in the center of the board, and the four of us, that was Joel, me, Copeland, and Joe's young son, Joey, not to be confused with my nephew, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we play using all the rules to see how long it takes us to blow up the tiger if we can and not get destroyed? And we ended up doing it. We had a good time. It took about 6 or 7 turns for it to happen, and we did get lucky that we lost him. That we didn't get destroyed ourselves. And then Charlie came back after taking his daughter home, and we played a regular 3-on-2 game again with full rules. Joey loved it. He was over the moon all day long. And on Facebook, Joe, and Charlie both called us out and said, "Hey, thanks so much for a great time. Thanks for putting the game on. The kids loved it." I said, "Hey, that's what it's all about, right?" So, let me go ahead. I'm going to pull up some photos here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, okay. Let's share. Maybe. Yes. Share screen, window, library, share. And let's do this. All right, here we go. So there's Mr. Copeland in the middle, Joel, and me. We're standing outside the World War I memorial there. A good time was had by all. That was in the morning before we got in. They actually let us the museum itself didn't open until 10, I think, and they let us in at 8 o'clock. So, and there is just the memorial unto itself. It's a beautiful building. And there was all of the tanks that we were running. We had 5 Allied and 5 German. Quite fun. Here's a shot of German tanks, more German tanks, Allied tanks, more Allied tanks. And that was our table setup. One half was a little village surrounding some crops. The other side was bombed out except for the church. It turned out to be a pretty nice table. Let's see here. Another angle of said table. Yeah, I was sporting the Wiley Games tapes and dice boxes. That was, hey Hexy, how you doing, buddy? That was the Mud and the Blood terrain setup. It was a nice table. Barbed wire was looked pretty cool. And here's some of the minis, 28 millimeter there. Good looking tanks right there, I thought. And then this is the American the AWI sharp practice game. Again, it looked quite nice. There are some horses for you, Mr. Reese. You can go ahead and say how they're improperly painted.
No, they look fine to me.
Okay. And then there's a carriage. I don't know what the scenario was or why there was a carriage, but there's the carriage. This here is Joey. Joe's young brother or young son and his wife. Not wife. Good God, daughter. He's not from Alabama, guys. Don't worry. His daughter, and this is Joel's son, Ian, explaining stuff to the pair of them. He did an amazing job. Another shot of the American War of Independence. This is the game for Napoleonics. There's some of the nappies there. There's some cavalry, more horses. So we had a good time. It looks like they had to. They ended up having to move the carriage. Escort the carriage there. We had about 20 people there, Hexy. Like I said earlier, we had about 20 people. One guy flew in from Tampa. One guy flew in from Denver. A couple of guys drove over from St. Louis. Again, all of the game space, the game area that we were in, was completely out of pocket from the guy Joe, who wanted to run it, and so he did. There's some of the World War I guys. What a tanker! We got a Panzer III and a Sherman. The Panzer III decided to ram the Sherman. It did not turn out so well for the Panzer III. And there were my opponents for the day. They had quite good fun. Reese was asking about the fields, and it turns out it was Berber carpet tile, indoor outdoor carpet tile that Ian painted brown with the spray paint and cut it out. It was quite nice. Another shot of the World War I table. there's a fuzzy picture of the World War. I could probably make that black and white, and it would look like it was taken from a balloon in 1916, 1917. This was a lineup of a tiger that Copeland lined up through this. He drove his tank into the building and lined up the shot through there. I thought that was a pretty good picture. And yep, there's the tiger all blew up. And then just again another picture of the National World War One Museum and Memorial entrance with the memorial up on the top there, showing some highlights of the figures that were sculpted. And then I picked up a copy of Algernon Gets It Done, which is the Bag the Hun World War One version of Bag the Hun by Two Fat Lardies, and printed up some World War One fighters in 1/300th scale because I'm going to run a game of algae at Smoked Lard next year, along with my game of What a Seaman using my 1/1000th scale submarines. So that should be good. Oh, and well, there's me and the cat. Enough of that noise. All right, we're going to make this go away. Exit screen share. There we go. All righty. So it was good time was had by all, I think. We are looking to do it again. We think we're going to do it in the second or third weekend of May next year. So again, if anybody's in Kansas City that weekend, you're going to be more than welcome to join us. We're hoping to grow it and make it be a full blown, convention for Lardy's events. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. So, but so going back up here, Charles said, "How about extra dark green and bright lime green?" That's gonna be a no. Only for the fact that I'm not a huge fan of green. And if I do dark green and light green, it'll just make me think of either Peter Pan or Men in Tights. So, not going down that road. Not going to go down that road at all. So, I do think red and blue is going to be my colors of choice. I'm going to use the Telesar blue contrast. And for the red, I think. Where is it? I don't know if I want to use my Flesh Terrors red or my other red that I've got, which I can't seem to find. So that, I guess, probably answers the question as to what red I'm going to use. So, but this
I've
coming
had good luck with
weekend,
the Flesh Terrors. It's pretty bright.
yeah, I think that's what I'm going to flow with. So I've got a full weekend of gaming this weekend. My brother is coming in out of town. Um, like I said, our buddy Ian, Joel's son, is hosting a game day there at his house. But starting tomorrow, going down to my buddy Brad's place, and we're going to play a game of Cry Havoc board game. So we'll see how that flies, so to speak. And then Friday, when my brother comes into town, he and my nephew are going to pick me up here in Liberty, and we're going to drive out to. It used to be Oklahoma Joe's. It's now KC Joe's barbecue, and we're going to have barbecue with our buddy Mike Burke, and then head on down to Tabletop, where we're going to end up playing some game. I'm not sure what game we're going to play. Probably, I think we're going to do Xenos Rampant. I think. I'm not sure. So that's Friday. Then Saturday we're at Ian's all day, and then Sunday Jay Wiley is providing the game table and whatnot for Jay to run my brother Jay to run another game. Again, I believe it's of Xenos Rampant, I think. So yeah, lots of gaming this weekend. So that's why I am getting all of these Brettonians painted up because we're going to use them for what we're calling mini Dragon Rampant, where we're using only 2 stands of 10 millimeter miniatures and playing on a 2 foot by 4 foot table. So I think that's going to be kind of cool. So, and you said you're painting up Philippine Scouts and something else.
Kansas Irregular Cavalry.
That's right. That's right. Now, what makes them irregular cavalry? Are they riding donkeys instead of horses, or?
They're not in the normal chain of command, and they tend to fight guerrilla and anti-guerrilla actions instead of set-piece battles.
Ah, there you have it. There you have it. Okay.
The red leggings, the light blue trousers, and the dark blue uniform shirts are an inspiration for the Jayhawk football team, and I will say they are both equally terrible.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I was about to say, is that are they playing football or what's going on here?
No, I'm just I'm working on what pieces I have for my uh, Civil War in Southern Missouri project, and figured those would be the easiest to figure out because they're the most uniform. And then I will
Right.
move on to Bushwhackers and Enrolled Missouri Militia and all kinds of other ragtag units on both sides after I get these guys done.
Outstanding. Good gravy. So, and what scale are those? 54s, 28s? What are you working with?
These are 15s. Everything I'm painting is currently 15.
Okay.
I've got a slew of 15 millimeter terrain and buildings and trees and hills and roadways and fences.
Oh
Now,
my.
now it's time to get the now it's time to get the figures done.
There you go. There you have it.
They will also have gunboat support, so I've got those in various stages of completion.
Outstanding. Good to hear. Oh, allergies are just absolutely kicking my ass. Ugh. Ragweed is a bear. And it's difficult to paint when your eyes are watering. Luckily, I am not painting for in any way, shape, or form a contest. Ah, good lord. Oh. So what else is everybody else doing out there? There's five of y'all. Y'all are being um, I'm completely losing my words. Uncommonly quiet out there. Normally, y'all are chatting like a bunch of hens. That being said, I'm also running out of stuff to talk about. Um,
Did we lose McMurray somewhere back there?
yeah, he dropped out. Probably got a phone call. Um, because whenever he drops out to take a call, we end up losing him. Uh, like I said, my my eyes are absolutely killing me. Charles said, I was going to restore an old Panther tank model. The gun barrel is broken in three pieces, and I had them in the hand when I took the main parts to the sink to wash off some of the dust. And when I came back to the room, I only had two pieces of the gun barrel, and I've been going nuts for 2.5 to 3 hours looking for the missing piece. What scale, Charles? Um, oh, and Mike says uh, they're hunting wabbits, being very, very quiet. And Hexy is playing some Napian Ancients right now. Oh, okay. Very cool. Oh, oh man. Anywho, so yeah, I got a lot of gaming going this weekend, which I quite like. And then in um, in 2 Thursdays, I'm going to be running my uh, Ocean Thunder at probably Doug's house. I think we're going to run at Doug's house. Um, I think. Um, Charles has a raging headache. Oh, dude, I feel you. I'm dealing with a headache also. Um, I know from time to time, Mister Cowpoke over here has had some as well lately. They are not fun. Headaches are definitely not fun. Right, all blue on that one. Yeah, definitely glad I'm just everybody's going blue and red because otherwise, this would just be a pain in the ass. Now I am doing it where half of them are blue shirts and red pants, the other half are uh, blue pants and red shirts, just to kind of break it up a little. Oh, anywho. What's going on here? Oh, okay. Where are my tools? There we are. Oh. See, I got to figure out what all these different all the different World War One planes I've got here are, um, and then figure out what how I'm how I'm wanting to get them painted up. So, I mean, it's not going to be a problem finding out which ones they are because I can just uh, look at the file and say, "Oh yeah, that's this airplane because it's that file." Um, so but I think the fun part is going to be figuring out how I'm going to paint them. Now, obviously, I've got a where do you go? Where did he go? Here he is. I've got the Fokker triplane, the DR1 triplane. So obviously, that one's getting painted red because how do you have triplane, a German triplane, and it not be the Red Baron, right? So made that pretty easy. Um, it, the German planes are the ones that are interesting to see um, painted up during World War One. The Allies, if I remember correctly, were somewhat boring. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were pretty well. Oh look, we're gonna make them green and brown, um, for the most part. But
If you wanted to
that's
get
neither.
real crazy, you could paint some of the Germans up in Ottoman camouflage.
Yeah, yeah, that would be interesting. I think.
The British also used a different paint scheme in the Mediterranean and Palestinian campaigns than they did
Okay,
over the Western Front.
I'll have to check that out.
That's basically all I know about World War One aviation because I used to dive really deep into World War One in the Middle East, and then well, that was a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, that was a
All
couple
right.
couple states ago.
Would that have been Oklahoma?
I think I was still in Kansas at that point, but I think I'd probably started in Oklahoma.
There you go. Okay. I'm going to do this. Well, apparently I did not turn this strip of men at arms over because their backs did not get primed white. So I'm just painting blue directly onto them. They'll be the front rank, so not a big deal. Not a big deal. Excuse me, guys.
I just almost used Leviathan blue instead of Black Templar on my government mules. That would have been very interesting look.
Interesting. Yeah, that would have definitely been uh, interesting. Not quite sure I've seen blue horses before. I mean, at least not while awake.
There is a color that we call blue, but it's
It's
not really
gray.
blue.
Yeah. Very similar to blue in the dog world. Um, Blue merles are not actually blue. They distinctly have gray fur. And actually, it's not gray fur either. It's a black and white fur. It's really weird on Australian Shepherds, man. Um, excuse me. Mm. Mike says Big Lex, the blue horse. I've never heard of her as the blue horse. I've heard of her as the blue ghost. Um, Not saying that she wouldn't necessarily be called the blue horse. I just haven't heard her referred as such. Okay, let's see. Can I do this without it sucking too bad? Yeah, there we go. I'm doing my best to come up with different designs for the shields. Um, Still staying with the blue and red theme, but just kind of throwing different colors or different shapes on them, just to kind of get a differential look to them. They're turning out okay. They're turning out okay, I think. Um, Again, A, they're 10 millimeter. B, I'm not painting for contests. I'm just making sure that they're painted and look decent at the 3-foot range. So, something my brother has decided to do. Oh, Big Lex was a fictional mascot of Lexington, Kentucky. Oh, okay. Okay. And see, all this time I thought you were talking about the aircraft carrier USS Lexington. Kind of gives you an idea of where my brain goes. It if it's in discussion, if it's in discussion of historical stuff, I'm gonna go Navy if it can. Sent a pic to you on Facebook of the tiger and panther. Okay, I'll see if I can take a look at that here. Hold on one second. Do. Okay. Have not seen anything come across yet. But primarily it's probably because my Facebook sucks sometimes. Okay.
So, when painting up a Teddy Roosevelt figure
Uh-huh.
that you still want to use for U.S. forces, but don't
Yeah.
necessarily want it to be Teddy Roosevelt, how would you go
Uh-huh.
about that?
Don't paint the teeth big.
That does sound like a solid option.
Yeah. Don't mind me. It's got to be lack of oxygen to the brain. I told somebody one time that everybody that has ever died ever has died of one thing and one thing only, and that is lack of oxygen to the brain. Every single person that has ever lived has died because of lack of oxygen to the brain. If you think about it, it makes sense. Except in one instance, and that's when someone shoots you in the head.
Yeah, I was
Then you're
about to say
getting too much
massive
oxygen.
massive brain trauma might do you in.
You're getting too much oxygen to the brain at that point. Too much oxygen to the brain. I mean that's what happened to Kennedy. Too soon. I am almost done with all of the blues. And then I will do the reds. And then I will do all of the poles. and the halberd heads, and Roberto es tu abuelo.
What
Those
about
that are
Robert
not my
being your grandfather?
no, I'm not abuelo, Tio.
Ah, Bob's your uncle.
See, I was about to say for those that aren't bilingual. I think for the flag, I'm just going to do a basic quartering. Nothing too fancy. Just a basic quartering. Because again, I'm not looking to win any awards with this thing. Just wanting to make sure that it looks good on the table. Charles says he usually has YouTube issues every 4 to 5 days. I feel you, buddy.
So I've seen people do it, but it does not seem that 15 millimeter single based is common.
I do it, but I'm also insane.
This will be an interesting project. I will say that.
All righty. I think that is blues done. Yay. Yo soy abuelo bien tiempos. Well, if anybody's going to have some Spanish knowledge, it's going to be Senor Charles, living in Santiago as he does. All right, let's get the red out. Damn it. Normally that requires Visine. This is probably the quietest, most boring live show we've ever had here.
Sorry, I'm not holding up my end.
No, you're fine. No, that's. I know you got family upstairs, so. And I don't just mean the girls. Apparently, you have a whole plethora of familial entity up there.
Such is life.
Oh yeah, this is gonna look good. This will look good.
No, I started working on 15 millimeter Civil War and realized I had a slew of jungle terrain, and the paint schemes aren't that different. So if I grab some 15 millimeter Spanish American War and Philippine Insurrection, I basically already have the terrain for it.
There you go. Now, were there uh, any ground combat of uh, of the Spanish American War in the Philippines? Because all you ever hear about is San Juan Hill.
So that gets tricky. What you actually define as the Spanish American War. There were there was combat in the Philippines. There was actually a Philippine Revolution before the Spanish American War and into the Spanish American War.
Okay.
And we cut a deal with the Philippine revolutionaries to work together against the Spanish.
Okay.
And so, if you include some of that, then yes, the Spanish American War ended, late 1898 or so, mid 1898. But we did not exactly have the same understanding of the deal as the Filipinos did.
Of course not.
And so by 1899, February, March or so, we were fighting. We were fighting a war in the Philippines against the Filipinos.
Of course we were. Because why wouldn't we?
Yes, you must accept our civilization by force. That one was pretty much wrapped up by, I'd say, 1902 or so.
Yeah.
And then we ran into a problem with a Muslim extremist group in the southern Philippines and fought them basically up into World War One.
Huh.
Matter of fact, I think Pershing was the one of the last commanders to lead troops in battle against them.
Interesting.
But that's a wild thing to look into. They some of them were wearing like chainmail and helmets and waving around swords. Some of them had spears and shields. Some of them had cannons and rifles. But they call them the Moros. When we inherited that title from the Spanish, because the Muslims that the Spanish had encountered were the Moors.
Right.
So that's the name that they gave the Muslims in the Philippines. They would
Mhm.
take like long cloth bandages, like puttees, and
Yeah.
wrap their upper arms and their legs incredibly tight with them, which restricted blood flow,
Interesting.
which made gunshots a whole lot less effective,
Huh.
and also took a lot of drugs that hyped them up.
Of course it did.
So there's all kinds of things that happened in that particular war that drove um, U.S. military doctrine in well into the 20th century that a lot of people don't realize.
Interesting.
I could absolutely lecture on for several hours on this, and I will not. But
Fair enough.
one thing, the United States had gone from a 45 caliber sidearm to a 38 caliber sidearm before the Spanish American War, and the 38 served okay until we got into the Moro Rebellion, and they started reissuing 45 caliber sidearms and sending a bunch of stuff over from the states to the troops to be a more effective pistol. And the contract was changed from the new pistol that they were seeking was changed from a 9 millimeter or 38 to a 45 caliber design, and the winning design based on our Philippine experience was the 1911 that served us through World War One, World War Two, Korea, and Vietnam. So the reason that the United States likes a big, hefty 45 caliber pistol is because we had guys waving swords at us in the Philippines.
Nice.
That's also partially shot.
What was that? You broke up.
Sorry. That's also partially where the United States developed its love of using shotguns in combat.
Ah, yes. That in the trenches in World War One.
Yes, and cavalry actions in the Civil War and using fowling pieces in the Revolution. I mean, we've always liked shotguns, but the keep it around for boarding actions type was more
Yep.
developed there.
Well, the guys I'm painting right now are the artillerists, the redlegs. Heyo. It's a joke, people. Let's see. Charles says that his ME 163 Comet came out nice. His DR1 sucks. Fat fingers, scrawny struts did not go well together. I'm sorry to hear that. This is definitely a first for me.
What's that?
Essentially painting. I'm essentially painting French 14th or 15th century army.
That sounds terrible to paint.
Yeah, well, is what it is. Could be worse.
Could be painting
Like,
75 millimeter horses.
yeah. Why would anybody want to paint 75 millimeter horses? That just doesn't sound pleasant.
I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. I've got to sort some cows and take them to the sale barn in the morning. So
Yeah, I think we're gonna. I'm getting hungry. Um, and I really should make make sure I pay attention to that, being that I'm really focusing on the diabetes, and I get low blood sugar quickly now. But I mean, we're an hour and 10 minutes in, and we still have 6 of you guys out there, so I do truly appreciate that. Charles, no, they're not sunburned. They've got red trousers, because why not? But kind of give you just an example of what I'm working on or working with. Damn it. Is there you go. Red and blue. It doesn't look great. It looks even worse on camera. But that's what I'm working with. Oh, there. See, now that looks good. That looks good. So, all right, guys. I am going to go ahead and call it for the night. Like I said, I gotta get something to eat. I hope y'all have a great week coming up. I hope y'all get to do whatever it is that y'all want to do for your particular stint in the hobby. Get some gaming done, get some painting done. Telemachus says, later war painters. Yes, take care, everybody. And I will let y'all know how the big gaming weekend went next week. And until then, we'll see you on the flip side. There's no music outro. It's just going to go dead. So we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.